Hey friends, it's Rochelle here with your BBB. Thanks to our friends on Facebook Live joining us. We've got a packed house here today. We're so grateful for y'all. We're going to show you some stuff we've got coming up. Love to get y'all engaged, so check it out. All right, this is the big one, y'all. This is coming up. It's always the first Saturday after tax day for everyone to remember properly. Here at our offices, April 18th from 8 to noon. You literally sit in your car. You don't have to do anything. I mean, load your own documents or whatever you want shredded. But we get everything out of the car for you. It's literally, last year we had people backed up down the Reed Road down here, but it went so smoothly. I mean, we've got a system down thanks to our friends at Kelly Community. They sponsor this event every year. So, and also STS is going to be our electronics recycling vendor again this year. They did a great job last year. So if you have any hard drives, cell phones, laptops, anything like that, you want to get rid of old printers, stuff like that, bring it on. We'll take that off your hands for you. And then they do provide us with a certificate showing that it's been cleaned and everything's been taken care of properly. Not enough of that nowadays, especially with the scamming and stuff going on. So super excited about that. Thanks also to our VIP sponsors, which our friend at B&L is down there on there. Thank you for that. This is the one coming up that we're super excited about as well. What's great about this, y'all, is 1 hour. You don't have anywhere physically you have to be except for at your desk. Builds great team camaraderie. It's just so much fun. Michelle hires a professional that does this every year, so it runs very smoothly. Wonderful prizes being given out, cash prize for winners, stuff like that. We want to thank Prothero Wilhelming for sponsoring, as well as Right Way Services. They just do an amazing job. And then that's a list of all of our sponsors. And then BGC, of course, they donated very kindly gift cards for all of our Battle of Business events. So thank you to all. Y'all, here's a QR code. I'm going to send y'all a calendar of events link at the end of this. That way you'll have all the stuff we've got going on just to make it easy for y'all to register, okay? This is another one that went so well last year. Montez at the back nine owns the back nine. So much fun. Again, huge thanks to Miss Perry, our amazing sponsors, Thrivent, as well as Republic Services and Delic. And then these, again, are our VIPs. We couldn't do this without y'all, so thank you for that. What's great about this is a lot of people are going to the lawn moment. I don't know much about golf, to be honest with you. So the simulations, a lot of people are going to that, even the pros, you know, as far as whether it's for practicing or whatever. But it's a lot of fun, great prizes to be given out there. Like I said, this will also be in that link that I send y'all. Woo! This is our biggest event, in my opinion, of the year. Oh my gosh, we have so much fun, don't we? We've changed venues this year, which we're super excited about. Truvine did a great job with us the first 3 years, but we've kind of outgrown that. So we're moving it to Black Hawk Creek Grill. If y'all haven't been to that venue in White House, absolutely amazing. Everything there, it's all Wagyu beef. They have their own, they grow their own lettuce and all that stuff. What is it called?
Farm to table.
Yes, it's amazing, y'all. But they've got concerts like Sarah Evans coming up, Pat Green. I mean, it's just a great venue. So we're going to give them the support that they deserve, and it can allow us to have more teams as well, which means more fun. So this is all about that. Thanks again to Advantage, Delic, Thrivent. Those are our amazing sponsors. They always take care of us, and then as well as the VIPs on that also. Woo! And last but not least, yay, Tyler Indoor Pickleball. This was a huge success last year as well. Our first time to do it last year. Oh my gosh. The competitiveness was, I loved it. I absolutely loved it so much. Our sponsor, Thrivent, who always goes above and beyond for us, as well as Republic. And then, of course, Back Nine's on there. They just do such a great job. They've added one more bay this year. Last year there was only 3 bays. Now there's going to be 4. So it'll run a lot faster this year. But mark your calendars for that as well. Here's the information on the classroom, like we were talking about. This is absolutely amazing. Accredited businesses, it's only $100 to rent this class for a full half day, and $200 for the full day. Wait, $200 for non-accredited businesses, which is still a steal. And then the full day for an accredited business, $200. You have this room all day for $200. So can't beat that. Again, reach out to Miss Shawana. She's thebomb.com when it comes to all of this. Yes, ma'am. So we're doing a summer, I love it, a summer school series. You know, AI is taking over everything, and I'm technologically challenged myself. So I am learning a lot. Michelle has been very helpful with, you know, ChatGPT, you know, all the things. So that has helped tremendously. But David Dom is absolutely awesome. Love him. He will be here for 3 months in a row doing the summer school series, talking about AI and literally, I mean, you've got to do it. It's like jump on board or get left behind. It really, really is, y'all. And but my thought process and all that, being in sales for decades, is computers are great and AI is wonderful, but it will never take over that human interaction, that relationship, right? So you just got to do with it what you can, you know, make the most out of it. So, and again, our amazing VIPs are up there. They're everywhere the BBB is at all times. Yay! Now we got Dr. D. Let me read this amazing bio. Yes. Dr. Denise Adele Trudeau Poskas, known widely as Dr. D, is a scientist at heart, a coach by craft, and catalyst by nature. With a background in biological sciences and neuroscience, oh my goodness, paired with an MBA specializing in teams and a doctorate in leadership and human science, Dr. D has spent her career decoding what truly drives human potential, especially in high achievers, entrepreneurs, and visionary leaders. Love it. With 20 years experience in leadership roles and over 15 in coaching, she brings a breadth of experience to help businesses and leaders grow successfully. She is the co-founder of Blue Egg Leadership, a certified ICF coach, and the architect behind the breakthrough of methodology. It didn't come out right. Including EQ Edge, Synovation? Is it Synovation, sorry, these are all new for me. Valley Leadership Academy, Stroke of Genius. As a member of the Forbes Coaches Council, wow, she contributes expert insight to global conversations, as well as writes for Forbes Leadership magazine. My goodness, sister, that's amazing. What energizes her most? Watching someone reclaim their agency. That unmistakable shift when a leader breathes differently, speaks from their center, and owns who they are fully. She lives for breakthroughs that don't just change the moment, but change the trajectory. Love it. Dr. D brings rigor and heart into every room, blending evidence-based neuro-leadership tools with deep emotional insight. This is so awesome. I love it. Her mission is to help people understand the science behind what makes them tick, so they can lead with intention, neuro-communicate with precision, and build cultures that thrive under pressure. I love this. Y'all, please help me welcome Dr. D. We're so happy you're here.
Oh, I am already an engaging group, and we want to continue with this. This is not a lecture. This is for you to learn from people in the room and ask questions as you go through, as well as there's a handout that was at the beginning here. We're going to do one of the strategies. So if you don't have it, just let us know. We'll bring it to you. Okay. Also, yeah. Thank you so much. So, as Rochelle said, I am fascinated with the science behind how we work, how we tick, what makes us tick. One of the most important things that I've found in coaching others is this concept of a setback. How many of you have ever had a setback? Yeah. How many have more than one? That's right. That is a normal thing. Today you're going to hear that you actually have a special, when I started doing my research, I didn't realize this, you have a special piece of anatomy in your brain specifically to get you frustrated and disappointed. It's specifically made to hit a setback, right? So what I want to do today is talk about that and give you new insight to how you can start rewiring it. Because it is biohackable, right? Most people with a setback do one of three things. They suppress it. I'm going to be fine. We're going to get through this. Anybody like that in here? I'm a driver, I'm going to suppress it and move forward, right? The other one we do is express it and tell everybody else to suck, keep Okay, yeah, somebody not admitting it, we do that. A third way is we project it to somebody else. If somebody else, if they just would have changed, this wouldn't have happened. Anybody do projection? None of you?
Just on my husband.
No, right? Sometimes we do all three. What I found out in the research and working with my clients, as high achievers, like in the room, entrepreneurs, we're going to encounter this. And it's fabulous, because we're going to keep encountering it, right? What I found out, though, is we can do it differently and transmute it, which means change the wiring so it works for insight, higher level decision making, and executive functioning. If we don't rewire it, when you feel disappointment, it sets off alarm action not only in your body and 5 different parts, core areas of emotions, right? So, fascinating that there's a little piece of us in there, so we might as well get to know how can we use that to our ability, right? So as we go through ask questions, I made this graphic to show you, and I won't go through all the technical terms, but the key piece that does this is the hibernella, right? And it's in next to the thalamus, which is in your midbrain. How many have heard of the amygdala? You guys have heard of that on Instagram. How about the prefrontal cortex, or PFC? Yeah. What are some other parts of the brain you guys already know?
The brainstem.
Brainstem. That's our survival, right? Any others?
Medulla oblongata.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Okay, and so they all right going. What is the prefrontal cortex? Why are we fascinated with that?
The me piece.
Is it the memory?
Close. That would be the hippocampus. Yeah. So what it is, executive function, you have 4 parts to the prefrontal cortex. One part just specializes in your motivation. So it builds, when you stay focused, it builds a motivation factor, a little button. So when we work with this disappointment, the setback thing, it actually, when we don't suppress it, we work with it, it builds the motivation button. It's really cool. And they're not buttons in neuroscience. They're like, oh my God, it's not a button. It's a piece of it, right? The prefrontal cortex also has the ability, as we develop it, to see a panoramic possibility and make wider decisions instead of shorter decisions, right? The other piece about the PFC, it helps you not to personalize the moving forward, right? So there's 11 cognitive distortions we have. When we have a setback, you tend to personalize it, right? What does that mean to you guys when you personalize a setback?
Sorry, late.
You get your personal emotions tangled in your failure instead of like your company's
Yeah.
trajectory.
You get personally tied to it, right? It is something wrong with you. As high achievers, what is your biggest fear?
Failure.
You know, it is our biggest fear. That is one of the first triggers that will trigger the hibernella to say, okay, we are going to do one of these 3 things unless you teach me differently. We are going to fight, we're going to freeze, or we're going to flight. We're going to run from this. Suppress, express, or project. Right? Is it fascinating? So your brain can be taught not to do any of those 3 and to go through it. To actually get to a higher level of insight and brilliance. So disappointment is meant to be there for you to evolve into a more brilliant person. That's a fascinating piece. Now, in your handout, that's strategy 3. So we're going to walk through strategy 3. It starts with, what is the setback you're working with? At the top of the page, what is the setback that you maybe recently had? You do not have to share these. This is for you to work through, because when you work through it, then your brain's already starting to process this. So it says, what is the setback that you might have had recently? So go ahead and take 10 to 15 seconds to write it down. What is the setback to use reflection tools to develop a higher neural feedback loop in your head. What's the secret about it? Does anybody know about why we write it?
If you write it, you'll do it type? Yeah.
If you write it, yeah. If you write it, you're talking to your subconscious. And it's saying, I'm going to commit to it. If you write it, it's the highest connection between your subconscious and your insight, too. So if you just talk it out loud, people say, I'll just talk it out loud. That's the rational mind. You're not going to do anything differently. You'll get through it 2 months, 3 months, a week after. But you have not changed the deep work. So reflection tools, although you think, oh, it's just some questions. It is more than that. It is the piece that says, I want you to think about this differently already. First thing we always do is name it. What was the setback? What was the emotion? What was the experience? We name it because then it doesn't make it more mysterious. Hiding in there like a closet, right? Just put it in the closet. Anybody do that when people come over to store everything in the closet? Do it! And everybody knows it. And people are like tempted. What's in the closet? But real estate, people, when you take them around, what's in their closet?
Always.
Don't do it. Yeah, right?
No skeletons.
No skeletons. But this is what we do. It is so simple to rewire when we follow specific tools that will help us. And it only takes us about 10, 15 minutes to get that insight. So we need a setback. If we do not do a tool, and this book that I wrote it because I was so passionate about it. My publisher said, no, we don't want to write about disappointment. But yes, we do. Because it is in every high achiever I have encountered. And they keep suppressing it. Or they project it onto somebody else and then repeat it. I said, if not, this is one of the most important areas to talk about, is we will have setbacks. And learning about it, we can do it differently. Right? So what happens, it shuts down. When you get disappointed, what are some emotions that come up?
Sadness.
Sadness. Anger.
Frustration.
Frustration.
Emotional.
Yeah, very emotional, right? One that people don't realize is shame comes up. It triggers the shame button. So all of those, and then fear comes up. Just as you said, I fear failure. It's one of the buttons that kind of sets people in a panic. What's so fascinating is that now you're setting off a whole bunch of alarms and you shut your dopamine down. That's how the brain is wired until you get smarter than your brain. Isn't that funny? I'm smarter than my brain. Don't go around saying that either. But now it's good. Right? What happens then, people try to avoid it by what? What will they do instead of dealing with it?
Distract.
They distract. Well, excellent, you know this. They distract with something that is a quick dopamine fix. This is why approximately now people are spending about 6 hours on scrolling, Facebook, all of that. It's or buying something or eating something or drinking something. So we don't want to distract. If we distract, it keeps a cycle, and then the hidden amount of disappointment will last for weeks and months, and leads to what we call later on a stuck cycle, which will show it to you. 70% of entrepreneurs by the 5th year will hit a setback. And now we're not saying a little setback. It'll be a severe setback. It doesn't just stop at 5 years though. We continually will have them because it's just something as a part of the process. The key is, can we get and bounce back from them? Most people don't. You guys in here will, because you will start looking at it differently. Some of you already learned some of the techniques. Would you agree? I had to learn. I'm going to bounce back. I have resilience. So you have done some of the wiring already. Unresolved setbacks. What's that with your company? Do any of you have things that you don't talk about but that were a setback and resolved? Anybody have that? None of you have just two. Like that would be like a case study that this group has less than.
I mean, as a real estate broker, we have setbacks all the time. We don't get paid until the deal is closed, and some crazy things that you can't even believe come up, and it sets everybody back when that closing didn't happen. So it's a yearly up and down
Ongoing.
constant setback that you have to deal with. And as a broker, I see agents that are, newer to the business and they get set back and,
You're shut down.
yeah.
Yeah. You know what the other cool thing is? As you learn to do setbacks, your energy raises and it helps your clients move through setbacks. We call it neural language or neural maps. It's the language we use to help them navigate so they don't go into a freeze, a fight, or flight. Because has any of your clients pointed the finger at you? No. Yeah, right? That's just one of the outlets. But it tells you, it's like, that's so great, you pointed the finger at me. That means we're really disappointed. Let's walk through that, right? Let's walk through that. The more we understand how people are wired, the more we can build rapport through the journey. Real estate is a journey. What you're doing is a journey, right? All of you are taking a client through or a customer through a journey, as well as your team through a journey. So the more they learn about the journey, the less they take it personally. That's what gets us. This is a terrible thing. It happened to me. I must be a failure, or they caused this to me, right? So what happens then if we don't deal with the system? We go to what's called a step cycle. There's 5 of them, and I told Rochelle, I'm going to give you a link. We have a free inventory that assesses your step cycle, because 80% of people assess it wrong. And it's really good because it just says, here's your categories. You might have 1 or 2, and then it says, do these first 3 actions. It's called stepcycles.com, and you need to do it on your computer so it scores for you. But we will send that, but stepcycles.com is doing this, because this is a prevalent psychological thing. So what happens to most people, and tell me if this is your experience or setback, you kind of dive into it a little bit, just enough to get to the next one. Anybody feel like that? Yeah. So we're kind of doing the rational mind will do it. We'll touch base with it, we felt it a little bit, but let's move forward. But what happens then, you have this iceberg underneath that creates an anchor pattern. And it almost looks for it again. There's a part of our brain called the RAS, and I know some of you probably know this, reticular activating system. Anybody that does Tony Robbins knows. If you just focus on it, you'll get that, right? Whatever you focus on, you see. But what you don't know is you have blind spots that what you're focusing on is your narrative in your head. Your narrative decides what you're going to focus on. Change the narrative. So, procrastination, overcommitment, I can't move there, right? Decision fatigue, burnout, and emotional. 65% of you will have hit burnout at one point or another. What people don't realize is this emotional flatline. At least 25% should be in that, right? So one thing we want to do is, I think it's step 4, it says, which one of those you think, when you hit a setback, you go to? Is it step 4? Yeah, okay. Which one of those? Just guess. And then you can share it with people around you. This is the one I tend to like. I like to overcommit and then overcommit again until I'm burned out. That way I get 2 cycles done, not just 1. I make most of it. Then I'm so tired I can't make a decision what to eat, and I stop. Or I order some pizza.
I'm definitely a combo of it all.
Are you? You like Dr. Yeah. Yeah.
All of it.
All 5 of those.
Seriously.
All
That's
five.
what I'm saying. I'm all
Yes,
in.
It just all went to hell.
Okay, so you were saying, so some of you said something went to hell. I mean, I think it literally goes here, stays on this plane, right? But what it means then is you have overloaded your system. Haven't you? Did you feel, is that what you feel like? It was almost too much, yes. So in coaching, we talk about understanding the unique abilities and working in them, so we make sure we don't do all 5 of these, we keep it down. We're still going to have a cycle, but here's the thing. Identify it. All of them have symptoms, and then we all have tools. That book in there has tools for your team and tools for you, right? It doesn't have to be this way, though. Do you know that some people average 8 months in a stock cycle? Would you agree with that?
Wow. 8 months.
Think about it.
I'm in the 7th month.
Okay.
just created a group of, yes, it had just dominoed, one right after the other. And you can't get through with one until this other one over here catches fire, and it's like, well, you can't pay attention to that and process that, because you gotta come over to deal with me. And I'm just one person.
Yeah. So, do you guys agree that one, sometimes if a disappointment suddenly sets you a setback, there might be another one? Okay, the reason that does happen is when we're not dealing with it, we're low, and we're in our midbrain. Our midbrain is not resourceful, just so you know. It's gonna fight. So what do you think your brain's gonna be looking for in the midbrain?
The way out.
Way to run out and looking for another evidence that I have failed. Here's another one. It specifically, that's what will happen with your RES. It'll start saying, okay, you did that, now let me give you another reason to feel bad, right? That's why it's so important that we do a process of, okay, so this is my setback, this tool. I think I'm sitting in, do the stock cycles tool, you do it again, you get it. This is the one that's the most prevalent. Now, what are some movements through that? I had a new client. Most people do not reach out to me until they're in pain, which is sad because then now I have to unwire the wire that they had wired for decades, right? But as a new client that came that was selling a very good business, and they had burnout to the point it was panic. They didn't know what it was, but it was literally panic attacks of when they're thinking about selling something. And this is not the first, I've heard this before. And what has happened is they had an event, a setback before that wasn't processed properly a decade ago. So within 40 minutes we figured that out, unhooked that, and moved through it. So that's what happens. When you have a setback, it will kind of add up. So what we do is, hey, that's fascinating. It seems like there'd be a couple in a row. I'm just going to take one of these, and I'm going to do a tool. And let's take one at this point, right? So the next one is, and here's another picture of it. We get frustrated. And then we go back to all or none thinking, catastrophizing. This is going to happen. Oh my gosh. Does anybody play with catastrophizing? Oh my God, this is going to be right? Yeah. And there's certain personalities that like it, that preference better than others. Some like all or none thinking, the T's, you know. I'll think it's this way or this way. There's nothing in the middle here, people. This way, the top. So we're in a stuck cycle because our button by the thalamus got triggered. And it will go to the part of your brain that stored all the memories and bring up memories of how you have failed before. Right? Would you agree? Have you felt that? What is that like then? Is that fun? You like that? That's like, whoa,
It's a suck fest.
yeah. What'd you say?
It's a suck fest.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds painful. Yeah. What do you think the brilliance behind that? What do you think the brilliance behind that is? Why would your brain, if not rewired, would do that? Make it more painful? Trying to create action.
I'm gonna make you do
I
it.
knew that, I
Yeah.
could change that.
Yeah.
We like to change
here. Okay. The reason is how, this is, I won't get off topic, but there's a UCL experiment that they studied how people viewed a memory situation. And what they do, if it was a setback and they felt traumatized, they encapsulated it and changed that, and in their subconscious, in their brain, there is the same emotion locked in, like a little bubble. Right? You ever feel that? And then you stack another little bubble. And then you have these bubbles. They found out in rats, they could find when they, in the brain, where their traumatic experiences were. It was just brilliant scientists. And that's the same with humans. So what happens is it's meant to come up to help you deal with it. It's just we didn't know that. We want to stuff it back down, right? So when that comes up, then you say, great, I feel really terrible about myself, but it is not about me. It's an event happening. So the first thing we do is always separate it from the event. So when it says, what's the step cycle, go to step 2. And, we don't want to do that. Instead of saying the story about yourself, what number 2 says is, separate it from you. Learn how to say, this situation is like this. This, not my situation. Or I am feeling all this anger. That is a situation happening in front of you. So in your setback, how do you put it in an objective? It's called dynamic self-observe. How do you put it in a more objective way? Write it down, see what you can do. It's the first step to stop the fire. How do you put it in a way that is objective? I'm going to give you a minute, so I'll write that. Especially you don't want to go to 8th month, so let's just, or write it out. How is it objective? This is it, right? It's an objective thing. We always do this in step 2. Write it in an objective. Separate the story. Separate that now this is going to be forever, whatever it is. Separate the story. What did that do for you when you just started writing the separation and realized, hey, I don't have to make this mine? What does that do for you? What did you notice just doing that? A little breathing? Yep.
It made me not want to write it. Like,
Yeah.
it was like hearing you and then seeing like, well, it's not all about me.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Make me realize I've been lying to myself.
How so?
Like it was clear that I hadn't actually identified the problem in how I had been framing the setback.
It gives you a little more clarity, doesn't it? Yeah. Our ego, and everybody's heard of this, like ego-free leadership, is another part of our psyche that we get around 2 or 3. That's why you notice little 2 or 3-year-olds, they're terrible 2s. I don't know what the phrase is, something like that. Well, it's just our ego comes upon the scene and wants to make sure things are always about us. So we have to minimize its pressure in there. It's not about us. It's an event unfolding in front of us. And the faster we get to that. So the first thing is separate. This event is folding in front of me. Neural language says we call it the event, the emotion, the expression of which this interaction. There's a really cool tool if you want to learn. I created it called the 3 circles. That really helps us separate. So the next step is what we want to do is exact the lesson. So I always say, now I had feel. This is a good way to do it. What did you already learn about yourself in this? What are you already learning? Just by writing it out. What did you already learn? What can you let go? And then what are you going to lean into differently? So what did you already learn? By writing out in an objective way, what did you already learn?
It really wasn't about me.
It wasn't, was it? So that's one thing you learned. What now does that give you? As you guys are writing it down, that's great too. So what does that help you do now?
It opened my eyes to other opportunities.
Yeah. Now I can lean and get my brain looking at other opportunities as long as I process this. Remember, we're not just moving through it, we are processing the emotion behind it because the emotion is highly attractive to messing with your energy if you don't walk through that. Right? So what else is coming up for you? What are you noticing about your setback?
I looked for feedback from others too. So kind of like, we talked about it and how did it come across, and we're like, this is not about you. So I got some affirmation. That was good for me.
So I like that you said feedback versus gossip or criticism. That's not going to help us. But if we say, I want you to just look at this objectively, I need to stand back, right? I want you to look at that. I want you to do this someday.
Okay, she got a phone call. She was just telling
Oh.
me. It's easy.
I have a question.
Yes, questions.
So, okay, you identify the setback,
What is it? How? What do you perceive it as?
yeah, and then you look at the facts and you realize this isn't actually even my setback.
This is
I'm
the same
learning
as coming.
somebody else's setback.
Yep, or it's something unfolding in front of you. It's going to happen to more people. A blowout on a tire, you're not the only one that it happens to, believe it or not. Statistically, it's a high portion of that, all the stuff out there, right? So we just say this setback happens to other people. Yeah, what else?
And then once you get to extract the lesson, as far as you realize that and you acknowledge that, but sometimes in business, it's something that could potentially, yes, it might be someone else's personal setback, but potentially it could be affecting the whole
Yes.
environment. So it's like
So then,
you not wearing it anymore, but it's how do you?
then you go to the next step. How do I lean into this? That's a very good question. No. You start thinking about how, my motto is lead wherever you go. Lead with compassion and integrity and say, this happened. Let's unstack it and figure out what we can do to move this forward in a way that's resourceful, can actually be an opportunity, and will resolve any emotion from this. Does it make sense? That's why we say, what do I need to let go? What are we going to let go as a team? You can ask your team that, okay? What did we learn from this? This worked, this did not work. What are we going to lean into? Well, let's do this something. Vulnerability in leadership says, we engage in, this was a need that wasn't met. Let's talk about that. It is with the client saying, I'm hearing you're frustrated now. None of us want that. Let's walk through that in a new level so that we can resolve it and move forward. So that's what we would say is then what do we lean into? The rapport building piece, the more you can use neurolanguage, the more you're going to find that rapport back. Right? So neurolanguage is simply, you study the language that works with your higher brain that doesn't trigger your amygdala. There's some examples. What are some phrases that trigger people that we tend to use? Because anybody knows what those are?
It's just logical.
That's just logical. That's what you're yeah.
We have this thing, we call it the remember thing, like whatever people tell you, like, oh, remember this, yeah, remember, and
Yeah.
they'll say whatever it is, and you're like, no.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's why I
Don't,
Yeah.
don't remember, that's why we're talking about it.
So then, right, it triggers people because then they're like, no, you make me feel stupid.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. People do not, believe it or not, people do not want to feel incompetent, stupid, or rejected. That's our fears. Those are our 3 fears. So trigger language, and I have a handout if you want it. I'm happy to give you that 3. It lists all the words. Like, you need to do this, you'll trigger pretty much anybody. But if you say, this needs to be done moving forward, and you're the person for it. Right? You see how that's different? It's mapping the resourcefulness of the person versus we learn to kind of trigger people to try to get them to do stuff. Right?
Those terrible twos.
Yeah, and we learn it, right? And it's still going on in work already for it fix. Yeah. Right. So we call it neural language or neural maps. We train clients in that because it transforms the way they move people through these 3 steps. Does that help answer that question so far?
Yes.
You do need to resolve it, and then you need to be able to be vulnerable with your team and say, let's work through a process. and then you can share, report out. So that book has, you can get on Amazon. Share processes and tools so they can reflect and share what they want to, just like you're doing today. It's very powerful because they will write things down and they'll learn things, but not just talking about it. If they just talk about it, you will not ignite what part of their brain. Just talking about it versus writing. What's writing do? Do you guys remember when we started?
Connects us to the
Yeah, subconscious, and then helps you with the prefrontal cortex. That's why these tools are very, very important. Even if you use the same one a couple times, it doesn't matter. What you're doing is walk through the step. Okay, then that goes to the next step. I should get the back of it. Right? So we identified the step cycle for, now we turn it into an opportunity. What could be some opportunities? And when we call it mind mapping, what would be an opportunity? You know you've unhooked it when suddenly the insight button goes off. Like, wait a minute, I can actually talk to Joe Smith about this thing. Or, I have actually no idea. So think of what are some possible opportunities here? If you didn't take it personally and you realize people have this happen, what are some opportunities or ideas that you can move forward? And opportunities, look for your insight to say, you know, it's a conversation with this person. Or, hey, there's a podcast that talked about this, let me listen to it. Or, hey, I met somebody in a network situation that I grabbed their card and let me pull that back up. That's why these network situations are so important that when you think about who's in the room, and I would say, I might connect with that person down the road over listening, or I might be able to connect them with someone else. So anytime you move into a situation, think about making sure you get to know who's there, and they're possibly a resource for you in the future. Always, right? Their brilliance is in a different area than yours is.
Yes.
Right? Do you agree with that? Yeah.
Yes.
So here's another thing about leading well and getting through setbacks. Start really thinking about there are resources everywhere, so your brain looks for them, and wherever you go into an event, make sure I have at least one takeaway. I learned a new tool, and I've networked with at least 5 or 6 people that I can think about in the future. Because you don't know how they'll be helpful, but they will. They'll be very resourceful. So what are some things that came up when you started writing down the opportunities? Yeah.
It was crazy what you just said because like whenever I'm feeling like unmotivated or just kind of like all over the place or like the different disappointments that you said, I'm kind of just like having all of those in like 24 hours. I read this book. It's called The Alchemist.
Yeah.
And it literally, it does like what you're saying, like the end result, that solution. That for me, when I read it, it gives me that like that kind of like that re-enlightened like.
It anchors you into, it puts you back in the pre-productive work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that what I was doing until
Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
You guys are high achievers, so you're resourceful enough to know there's certain things that kind of, we call it snap back. But what we want to do is step and bounce forward even deeper. So I want a few things that are resourceful, but then I also want a tool to excavate this so I don't just put this 90% back down under in the cellar, right? Because it'll pop back up. It's like, holy, gotta come back up. right? Like we talked about that client. What else have you noticed about opportunities, or what did you write for opportunities in this year?
You can make a change with who you're working with.
Yes. You can make a change who you're working with, and maybe this didn't work out. Now, if the next person looks like the other person, the variable might be us. We're just saying. The variable is, and here's the cool thing, in leadership, with clients, I always tell you 3 things you can change. One is the language you use. We're not trained in neural language, but it's been around and it's super fascinating. Second, change the perspective. Make sure it's objective and make sure it's a turnaround. It's called a reframe. Third thing is our biology. Are we breathing in the moment? Are we taking care of ourselves? Walking is one of the best ways to relieve the cortisol. It's not the only thing that we can do, but it's one of the best ways. So are we standing up when we have that conversation, or are we doing this? Right? Are we giving our body that we're safe? Psychological safety. Right? We write about it for, it's a buzzword now, but what it means is your body is connected to your gut response and saying, it's safe. Right? The disappointment, when that alarm goes off, how many feel like your gut response? Anybody? Yeah. It literally will tell your gut to take initiative, fast, or freeze. There's actually 3 brains. We won't get into that, but there's actually more neurons in your gut than in your head. Right? That's why it feels so uncomfortable. So the cool thing is just notice that is fascinating, that is so uncomfortable. Right? That is amazing. Right? Not all people deal with the setback the same way. So what it tells you is with the right tools, you could deal with it in a processed way and a resilient way at the same time. Not a compartmentalized. That's the difference. And let me give you a quick example, just off the top of my head. In October, I was in a speaking engagement. It took 7 of us to be on stage for 18 minutes in Paris. At Paris, France, not Paris, France. And the speakers met, and you have a media person, you have a translator from Paris doing. So this is exciting. Go in, you have 2 days. And you chose what group and I was the first speaker. So you go in that Thursday and you get a practice. So flying in there, I'm very excited. There's 7 of us, so 5 of us met in media. And we're getting ready to practice, and the American media person did not send any of the PowerPoints to the France person. He had a very good name, Adrian. And so right away we had 2 that started to melt down. And I said, that's okay, we got this. You guys, it's digital, just resend it. We resend it. They had some tech issues. So instead of being there to practice for 30 minutes, we were there pretty much the whole night. After about an hour, 2 of the speakers it was too much for them. They went to the rooms, right? They went to the rooms. So listen to this, 5 people dealing with the same situation. No one's PowerPoint was set. None of the tech was working. The mic system wasn't working that way, right? Then it starts raining, and so on top of it, we're thinking, we're going to go out and explore Paris. You have to explore Paris. But it rains the next day, and the 2 that were frozen didn't come to the beginning of the day because they were still trying to figure out how to recuperate. 3 of us decided to go see Paris because the speaking was in the afternoon. Right? And I'm like, we are seeing Paris. We are here. I might not be here again for a while. We're going to see it in the rain. There's such things as umbrella. But one of them, not the 2 that went with me, but one of the other 5 started saying, God, this is a miserable trip. And I said, it's not if you don't see it that way. Right? It's not, but she didn't catch it. And then it spiraled and spiraled. And then how do you think her presentation went? No good. She had no rapport. She was thinking about, this is going to go awful. But then she left the room, so I couldn't coach her, so there we are. But it is not, it's a great experience. if you think about it, yeah, the tech didn't work, and the tech the next day didn't work. It was on, Paris does things differently. Like, 10 o'clock does not mean we're starting at 10. You get it? We could start at 10:45 and still be on time. And I'm like this. Like, that's fascinating, right? That's fascinating, Adrian. So 10 o'clock doesn't mean 10. No. It can mean 10:25, it can be 10:45. We're just rolling it. But it was one organization after another, and I see them. The thing is, I think this is an experience. So the two people presenters that were working with me, one's from George Washington University, so she's a brilliant mind. She's like, I'm just going to hang out with you so I can get through this, right? And so we had a really good experience, and we got to learn a lot about people in Paris. Like, do you know that they wear scarves to protect themselves from getting colds?
What?
Did you know that? I'm like, why are you guys wearing these scarves? It's raining. Like, that look was, you know, dumb American.
This is just
Excuse me. So tell me more about that, because we wear them in the winter, and in Minnesota, you guys are Texas. Really.
We have any scarves to warm
Scarves. So they said the belief is if you cover your throat, you won't get the virus. So they have these fashionable scarves. And then we thought, the last piece of this, we thought since we were there at Fashion Week, we did go in to see Fashion Week. What happened with Fashion Week is because of the rain, people chose to go to watch the filming of that versus some of the presentations. So instead of having 90 people to present, we had less than that, 30. So it's those things we have to catch, and I did have to process. I wrote down, I did one of these. What is the setback? What's the next one? So I can process it, so I'm regrouped for the next day. Do not let a setback linger. Just go ahead, and what are the emotions? My emotions was very disappointment. I'm so fascinated with disappointment because it's everywhere about me, right? I get big pictures. How many of you get really big pictures of how something will look? Like, yeah, right? Yeah. This will be grand, we'll be in Paris, it's going to be shining, it's going to be like the movies, we're going to be on stage, it's going to go well, blah, blah. It's not, we just have to get realistic that, hey, that's great to have a great vision and also be able to move from that. So that being said, that's what we do. We go through the steps, and the final piece is to really just ask ourselves, the final reflection, it's a pause in momentum. That's all it is. When you process it, truly process it with a tool, you will not stuff it down there. Now, we did a short synopsis of it. You'd want to take about 10 minutes to really think about it. And there's other tools around that too, but you really want to feel the emotions. And if you could walk through it with someone in that way, like the emotions that are coming up for me is I am pure angry. This is anger here. I don't know where it's come from, but it's here. The next thing would be to process by asking yourself, what is my greatest fear? Then what else? And then what else? By the third one, you'll get the true fear. I will say another hint. It is never about the moment. It's about something you did as a kid or how you interpreted something as a kid. And so it got stored in there. And so when we see that moment, this is the worst moment in our life. No, it is an unfolding. Right? It's unfolding. So every time we do a reflection process, it stops the wiring into the midbrain. It slows down. What we want is a bigger and bigger gap to the midbrain. We don't want this wired. Like if we do a scan, we can tell people who are drama wired. You know what drama wired? It's not in this room, but do you have anybody you've known that are wired for drama?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, so don't point fingers. All right. So what it really means is, I see something, I'm going to share, I have to dunk on you. Do not let people dunk on you because it does affect your emotional set point.
Yeah.
How do you stop people from doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
You share, it sounds like that's really frustrating, or I'll give you a time. I hear this is coming up for you. Has this been a pattern for you? Have you noticed this before? What did you do to move through that? You can also put up a boundary. I love listening to solutions, but just sharing the experience of all the negativity will not help either of us. Right? That's neural language. It's really setting a boundary around that. So, those are some examples. You honor the other person by knowing more of what's going on in them than they know. They're not aware, they're doing the best they can. But you don't want to continue it. That's why in my culture, when I work with teams, there's a no gossip, no criticism. Because it will take out the brilliance in the room.
You know people turn into like the Hulk when you say that though?
I've never had someone turn into the hawk in front of me. Now, if you're doing it like this, if you're saying, well, I don't like what you're saying, that's a trigger. But if you're saying, I hear what you're saying, and it sounds like a lot of frustration is going on. That doesn't seem to help anybody when they just dialogue about it. What is one thing that you could do to move forward? You drop your voice, you talk from the center of your heart, and you're authentic, it will build rapport. It has to. That's how we're wired. Your heart has anywhere 40 to 70,000 neurons in it. If you're being authentic and you're thinking, this doesn't help anybody. I researched it when I was 20, but it doesn't help people to blame other people. It doesn't. It actually wires the brain in a negative way. So, does that make sense? We're so afraid that if we tell people with compassion that it's confrontation. I wrote an article 2 years ago in Forbes that said, we are simply navigating perspectives. That's all you're doing. You're not confronting, you're navigating perspectives of people. The more you get in tune to yourself, the more you get in tune to people. So you don't take them personally. Boundaries are a good way to set that. Does that help that question? Yeah. That's the power of neural language. That's it. Yeah. When I say it's the language, did you notice I'm not afraid? I'm stepping into the space. It's called leveled. I'm leveled and I'm sharing. So what another thing you do is this circle is very powerful to people. It's very powerful. So if I don't know if people do it. I don't know how people do it, but they don't interact their arms. Well, let's not help with that. Let's move up forward. So we're right like that. Yeah. So the thing is, moving it forward means doing this because it's environmental feedback to actually the heart. I'm moving this forward. Or together, let's move this forward. So this circle is what we practice with clients a lot because it's super powerful. Because a lot of times we just have our hands at the side or we're like this. Neurons are always reading your motor neurons. Right? Okay. So better that's why I'm so excited about this topic because I've seen and so impressed things when a team learns these, they start really being empowered because they realize that they care about the people they're working with. They love my clients. I love coming to work with the people because we all have the same language, we have the same tools, and there's no blaming. It is just us realizing we need to learn from this. Some means you let go, and then we need to lean and do something different. Because accountability is a part of leadership, right? True? Accountability means I am changing that. So this is one of the reflections. The book, I was so passionate about it because I wanted to give a tool out there. It is on Amazon. If you, we have a couple of copies. Michelle bought some of these too. It has the tools in the back. It has case studies. It has some of my narratives, which I didn't want to put in there about my disappointments and how I love it. But my publisher said, you gotta write that. Okay. So vulnerability and digging into disappointment. It's a brilliant, brilliant word. Awesome. Any other questions? I don't know where we are for time. We're
Close.
Any other questions about that? Yes. Yes.
I was like, there's only a few tips.
Yes. And follow up with me. I'd be happy, if you want to do a follow-up, I'm happy to give you 30 to 45 minutes of my time to walk through something. here's the thing, most people do not take advantage of someone offering something to help. So be one of those people, if someone says, I'm a resource, go and ask them to be a resource for 45 minutes. Every leader, every mentor has 45 minutes to give you. As long as you, right, would you read it?
Oh,
As long as you show up, you're on time, and you have a takeaway. Right? You guys are mentors to other people in the field. You're curious about this, don't let it lag. Because people are like, yes, I'm going to do this, and then the basal ganglia part of the brain says, no, just keep doing it the same. I love the pain. It's predictable. So, and the other questions are we?
Anybody else?
I have one.
Yeah.
With the emotional flatlining part of the cycle.
Oh, yes.
What if that's your like go-to? Like, I don't care, it's not my job, not my pay grade, whatever. How do you get out of that?
So what you're doing is a protective mechanism. I do not want to feel the emotion. Would you say you've learned that a long time ago?
Oh yeah, I did
Yeah.
that. I'm like, I'm done. She can
Yeah.
attest to this. That's what. But yeah, I'm just
What is the problem with that though?
not dealing with it and moving on, and it's back here and I'm up here.
And it's still in the back, isn't it?
It is. I have to go like try to work out or go on a walk or some retail therapy to get rid
Yeah.
of it.
So retail therapy is not a real therapy.
It's a distraction.
So if you want to connect with me, then what you're really doing is you're learning how, and believe it or not, when you guys are young, but you still wired some things, it's going to take a little unwiring. So what you would do is choose to actually do one of these tools and say, okay, so now, what am I telling myself here? What is the emotion I am stuffing? Emotional flatlining is that we compartment it so much that it has not existed. We're like this, it's cut off. If I could give myself grace, what would I say to myself? Right?
Wow, yeah.
Right? So that's a start of igniting what we're hiding. Does that give you just with a couple minutes?
Oh no, it's powerful stuff. I've been taking all of
Yeah.
that. So, yes.
And if you take advantage, just email me, don't just call me, I don't take phone, but email me if you really want to walk through something or you have a team, set up a Zoom with me, I'll honor that. We'll just have to schedule it, so.
You mentioned the worksheet, the statement sheet, did you have?
Yes, if you want, and it's so good. And here's the thing. Some of you say, when I use all those words on this, I have clients that I'll threaten to make a t-shirt. I'll say, you cannot use these, you can look down and use these.
Stamp it on the forehead.
So, she said I could email that out after, so I will email that to you, and it's called the trigger versus neural. And those are words, not mapping. So if you want to learn some neural maps, that means phrases that we showed you today.
Yeah.
Thank you for that interest in reminding that.
Yeah.
You make a mental note. We'll put Stuck Cycles is a network.
That's what I was saying.
Stuckcycles.com, you cannot do it mobilely, do it on your computer. See what it says, and it gives you a couple interactions there. We also have Wisdom Chronicles, so it's some of my insights, and it always has a little tool you can use on that. My clients love it. They will print them off. And it also shows workshops, but it really is there to get a big network, or I should be about 1,500 in that network, that just use some of those tools weekly. That kind of remember, like worry versus wisdom, right?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you guys so much.